Coming up this week on the Nintendo Directors Podcast, we give our impressions of Metroid, Samus Returns, and the hotly anticipated Super NES Classic. We also get to talk about the hidden NES emulator in every Switch and discuss the potential of Telltale games on the Switch. All that and more right now.
Hi, I'm Mark.
And I'm Brad.
We're two middle school band directors.
And you're listening to
Nintendo Directors. Hello, welcome to Nintendo Directors Podcast, episode 3006. Wow. The date is October 3rd. It's 2017 still. And my name is Mark, and my co-host here is Brad.
Greetings.
And we are going to be talking about video game things, because that's what we do. And video games are great.
Video game things. Oh.
Yes, video game things. So, all right. Brad is drinking something.
Oh. That would be H2O. Is that
H2O. Wonderful. That's delicious, I hear. So, all right. Well, we're going to get into this right now. So, yeah. Go ahead, Brad.
Oh, go ahead. Okay. Well, we got some great news to share with. There's a lot to talk about today. But first, I would be remiss if I did not tell you about our sponsor for this week. The week. Take two. The news this week is brought to you by Grandma Wendell's Perfect Oatmeal Chocolate Chip Cookies. It's the perfect fix for your sweet tooth, and honestly, how it should have been in the first place. Because really, no one truly loves raisins anyway, except for Mark, but he's weird.
Truth.
Do you actually like raisins?
I do. I like them. They're little corpses of grapes, and they're wonderful. So,
Excellent.
All right.
Excellent.
All right. Well, now the news. Here we go. So first, we have Square Enix attempting attempting to get the full version of Final Fantasy 15 running on the Switch. This info comes to us courtesy of mynintendonews.com, and I say kudos to you, Square Enix, because me want some Final Fantasy 15 on my Switch.
Yeah, man. So this goes back to the story, of course, of there's also going to be a mobile version of this of this game, like I think we talked about it in a previous episode, but like the chibi type of art style, and it's going to be sort of episodic, and so everyone kind of assumed that was how it was going to be on the Switch, because they figured the Switch wouldn't be able to run the full thing. But it sounds like obviously they're attempting to get the full version to work on Switch, which I think is fantastic.
Yeah, I feel like Bethesda probably just said, "Hey, look, we're getting Doom and Wolfenstein 2. Come on, Square Enix, up your game. Up. Yep, get good." So I am really hoping that Square Enix gets good, and I also will make my I can't think of the word. My plug that I make every single time I talk about Square Enix is, could they please just make Final Fantasy VI on the Switch remake? I don't care if you do the original game port or do a remake, whatever you want to do. But I mean, Project Octopath is kind of that, I guess. So we'll talk more about that later. But
sure,
yeah.
So
that's cool. All right.
But hey, I mean, if they can make it happen, that would be a huge statement for. I mean, even if it's running, not quite as fancy of textures,
right?
Or
in 1 frame per second.
No, frame rate is important.
I'm okay with a dip into the 20s. Like that to me is barely noticeable. 30
on like a big battle or something. Yeah.
Yeah, like if it gets into the 20s, that's fine. I like people who say they can really tell between 30 and 60. I don't care. It doesn't. I don't really see it. I don't see it. But anyways, all right.
Nope.
Next. Go ahead, Brad.
This seems to be like these stories. There were a couple of them that broke like right after we recorded our last one. So we apologize for the lateness of this, I guess. But this is something you might have heard about. It's there's apparently on every Switch there is golf, if you will.
Right.
There's an emulator for the original NES game called Golf, and it was basically.
Wait. If you don't have a Kleenex handy, get it handy. If you don't know what this story is, get some tissues ready. Okay, continue, Brad.
Right. Okay, so we all of course mourn the loss of Satoru Iwata. Last year in July, he passed away. He was the former president of Nintendo, essentially, all of it. And so within the Switch, the developers have created this. It was discovered by hackers somewhere, I believe. Just looking into code and whatnot. It's golf, and I guess it was codenamed Flog.
Yep.
because it's obviously golf spelled backwards, but
and they wanted to flog your emotions. But go ahead.
That too. And so I guess because the anniversary of his death, July 11th. If you on your Switch, if you use the Joy-Cons and you perform, this is the kind of the coolest part for me, I think.
Yeah.
If you take the Joy-Cons and you put them together and you perform that motion that he was always doing
directly to you.
Right,
yes.
Directly to you in the directs, then the game the system will unlock golf for the NES, and I think that was
his first game.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, he was heavily involved in,
Yep.
and it's so very cool tribute to just a really great, really fantastic man that was very influential in he kind of led through the the Wii days and into the Wii U and just obviously development history before that as well.
I honestly got misty the first time I read that story. I was like, that is like the most touching, amazing tribute, and like yeah, it's so cool. So,
it's great.
Yep.
Yeah, it's obviously just unfortunate that he didn't actually get to see the success of the Switch, which he of course was instrumental, at least in the beginning stages of.
Yep.
In the planning stages to make happen. So.
Yep.
But yeah, obviously very very fitting tribute. I think this is a class act in.
Yep.
In what they're doing there. So.
Yep.
It's cool.
So moving on, Super Mario World. Mario was a jerk.
Was he?
Man, oh
Tell me more.
Man. Well, I mean, we've all used Yoshi. And I really do mean used Yoshi. Like, jump off this giant cliff, and I'm gonna jump off your back, Yoshi. See ya. I know you're gonna splat down there, but thanks for the good times. But now it turns out that Mario was originally punching Yoshi in the head when you would run. It's just like, man, Mario, I hardly knew ye, but man.
Well, and it's weird because why all of a sudden, 30 some years after, these characters came around, like we're getting all these random facts.
Yeah.
Like before we was like Mario is not a plumber,
Right?
Or just all the truth is suddenly coming out. I don't know if it's like
Mario has nipples.
Right. Statute of limitations or something is up. I guess we better release all this horrible information to the public that they've these cutesy characters that they've been beloved for so long.
So Super Mario World should have been at least T for teen. They didn't have ratings back then, but yeah, punching Yoshi in the head. Run, dinosaur! Come on, bam! Just. I'm gonna jump off of you when we hit this cliff too. Like, it's just
right. If he does that to Yoshi, there's always been secret rumors about how Mario really was terrible to Luigi, and just
and maybe to Peach, and maybe that's why she kept getting quote unquote caught by Bowser. Maybe Bowser was saving her from him.
Yeah, right.
Mario. What a jerk.
That was her way of reaching out to the world. Yeah. Please, save me. But she kept getting saved by Mario instead.
Yeah. Back into the dinosaur punching man's hands. That's awful. All right.
Things you never knew.
I know.
It's terrible.
Moving on.
Man.
You take
So did you know that just this week there were 18 games released on Nintendo Switch?
Yeah, that's kind of crazy.
18 games.
I will say a couple of them might not fully qualify as games, but
okay.
but
yeah, there's definitely some Japanese
and
weirdness, and they're varying in quality. I'm sure.
Yeah, but still, I mean that's like a respectable console week. Release for a week. That's
great.
Yeah,
I mean,
I mean, how often? I haven't looked into it, but how often do you know like Sony and Microsoft how often their consoles have that many titles released in a week. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, we were just talking about how the Switch has become this great platform for indies and stuff to come to.
Yep.
Excuse me. I do hope that this is... I mean, I'm glad that for the success, obviously, people are flocking to it, which is great. But I hope it... And I guess we're not necessarily anywhere near this yet, but, like, obviously the whole problem with Steam, like we talked about before, of just, like, because it became so popular that people... Like, there's so many games released and other things just get lost. But, you know, if you're... Since there's... I don't think we're at that point yet, but...
Right.
It's just getting... That is just remarkable that 18 would come out in 1 week already.
Yeah.
Even just after 6 months.
Yeah. Yeah. No kidding. I mean,
but we had to state unequivocally, forget words, that this is happening on a system that people say has no games.
Yeah.
So
right.
This is great.
Right.
This is great.
Yeah. I like what that potentially means for the future. So.
Awesome.
Yeah. So next. Telltale Games, they have said that the Nintendo Switch is a perfect match for the studio, which warms the cockles of my heart. It is.
Does it?
Yes, I love Telltale Games. So I'm really excited. There's no series is out of the question for Switch port. They're saying, and that just has me really excited. I really like.
What is your history with Telltale Games? Which ones have you?
The Walking
played?
Dead. I did that on Steam and on my phone.
Nice.
And I really liked that one a lot. They had a they had a Game of Thrones one. I didn't play that one. But
heard it wasn't very good.
Okay, yeah. So, but what have you played any of Telltale Games?
Yeah, I played Walking Dead
Yep.
as well. And I was kind of blown away by that.
Yeah.
Just the depth of the story, the characters and the storytelling that was going on there.
And just like, okay, sorry, buddy, but you gotta die because I'm saving the kid, or the kid's a brat. Like I'm gonna save.
Spoilers, but yeah,
That's all. Yeah. So, anyways.
Spoilers, but zombie apocalypse, people die. But but yeah, that was a great game, and I think I believe I don't know, a couple months ago. Tales of the Borderlands was on PlayStation Plus, so I have that downloaded on my PS4. But then, like, my subscription ended before I could actually play it, and so I haven't renewed that yet. I'll go back to it someday, I'm sure. But I hear that that one looks pretty good as well.
Yeah.
Although even though I'm not like wild, I've never played a Borderlands game to be fair, but from what I can see, the art style and it kind of turns me off a little bit. But everything I've heard is that even people who really don't care for Borderlands, they loved Tales from the Borderlands.
Yep.
So that's a good sign, I guess. I'll have to look into that. But yeah, I mean, it's for the future. I have on Steam. I got in some humble bundle, I think, the new Batman game.
Oh, right.
From Telltale, and the Minecraft story mode, which I'm looking forward to playing through at some point. So yeah, bring it on. I mean, Telltale does great work, and I want more. So
yeah. Yep.
And on the go, that'll be.
Oh man, yep.
Perfect.
Yes, it will.
Perfect.
So for this next news bit, how about I'll lay down a bed of music vocally, which this will also reaffirm to every listener why we are band directors. But then you go ahead and talk about it. So here
and not choir directors.
Yes, absolutely. So here we go. Ba-da-dum, ba-dum, ba-da-da-dee, ba-dum, boo-dum, boo-doo-doo, boo-doo, boo-doo-doo-doo, boo-doo, boo-doo. Yeah.
Okay, we're done. Sorry.
Yeah, if you don't know what that is referencing, then I don't know why you're listening to this podcast because you're in the wrong place. But the Wii Shop channel is going to be ending on January 31st, 2019, and I believe I think March of 2018 is the last time you can add money to your account for the Wii Shop channel. I saw just this morning, and I mean, there are great games on that I won't be able to get in other places. So I got to go back and like double check which ones I have that I don't have that I won't be able to get other places. But really, the biggest thing is that we're going to lose the theme music.
Seriously.
Oh,
May it
man.
play forever in our hearts.
Yes.
You know,
What-
just
and I'm going to give a quick plug for the awesome acoustic guitar duo from Detroit, Super Guitar Bros. They do a fantastic rendition of the Wii Shop channel music. And if you haven't listened to that, please hit pause on this, go to YouTube, listen to, or maybe you're not listening to us on YouTube, but go check out the Super Guitar Bros rendition of the Wii Shop channel music. It's fantastic. But yeah, man, I'm going to miss that quirky little tune.
It was so good.
It
was really good. That and there was another great theme in the Wii architecture. It was when you were creating your Mii.
Yes.
I can't recall the actual melody offhand,
Yep.
but I do remember like making my Mii for the first time and then just sitting there for like 5 more minutes just listening to
Yep. And I mean, the Mii parade was always fun, and like then seeing what other people like, just scouring what other people had made. There was always genitals on a face every once in a while where you're like, oh, how did that get through Nintendo censors? But for the most part, like, you'd see some.
Hey,
really
they were
cool
pretty good about
they
it.
Were.
Generally,
They really
yeah.
were. But every once in a while, I'd be like,
Can you imagine being the guy that, it's your job just to go through every day?
How many genitals he saw? That poor sap. That's like entry level work right there. Like, hey,
Oh no!
that's the intern.
Congratulations
Unpaid.
for your job at Nintendo.
Oh man, that's awesome. There were so many creative people though, like using the face as a canvas, not for genitals, but for like just like a shark, or like I remember there was one that was like Pac-Man eating a ghost, and I'm like, that's so
Oh,
cool.
yeah.
Like I loved it, but
With such simple tools, it was
Yep.
very.
Yep.
It was very cool what some people came up with.
yeah,
And generally the legacy of the Mii, I think, is moving on.
yeah. Yep.
Even on Switch, it's very downplayed. Can you even create a Mii on Switch? I don't.
Oh
think
jeez, maybe not.
I
No,
think
no.
you had to import it, or can you?
I can't remember. I don't think you can.
I know I didn't, because I just kind of lost interest in Mii's a long time ago. But
Yeah, I think mine was imported from.
mine was imported from my Wii U, I think. But yeah.
I don't even think mine was. I don't know. I think it was from my Nintendo account. I don't know if it's attached to that or not.
Oh yeah.
Which
yeah.
I think I made that one for Miitomo, which was great for like a week, and then I don't think anyone's logged into their Miitomo in a long time.
Right.
But I did. My name was Marky Poo, and it was always fun to hear him say, "Marky Poo, my name's Marky Poo." Like, I just like that.
Right.
anyway.
Those voices that you could put on in Miitomo were just absurd.
It was
Just
a
absurd.
great way to have fun for a week, but yeah.
And that really was all it was,
Yeah.
about a week.
Yep, so-
I remember kind of being a little bit excited about that,
Yeah.
and then just not.
Yeah. So rest in
Staying
peace,
with it.
Miitomo. I mean, rest in peace, Wii Shop channel.
That's right.
All right.
Either any of the above. Take just.
Yep. Absolutely. All right. Moving on.
Some will be more fondly remembered than others.
Yes.
We'll say.
Yes. All right. Next, it will be what we've been playing. All right. What we've been playing. Brad, take it away.
Take it away. Okay. Well, this has been a pretty busy week for me. Weeks, I guess. It goes a couple weeks. Because in our haste to get through all of the Nintendo Direct stuff, last time we recorded, we didn't talk about Metroid.
Yeah.
And so it's been like a
And
month
that
since we've
happened.
done since.
Yeah.
And that happened. That's right. So Metroid: Samus Returns. Turns out it's pretty good. Quite good actually. I honestly.
Spoiler.
Right. Spoiler. I honestly wish that I could have spent more time with it. Just because there's been such a swath of good stuff coming out recently. But I have spent some time with it, and I really. First of all, can we just talk about the fact that this is a Metroid game that was announced in June, and now we have it.
Yeah.
And after so many years of no Metroid, like Nintendo, are you even listening? Do you even care
Yes,
about
I
us?
know.
Just and now it's here. Like, it's on my 3DS, and I can pull it up and I can play it and die and then try again
Yep.
and then and die again.
Yeah.
I'm really quite bad at Metroid games, actually.
Okay.
So, true confessions, I never actually completely finished Super Metroid. I've played that a lot, but I just get lost.
Yeah, yeah.
So I watch people who are a lot better at Super Metroid play it, but I totally agree. It is a fantastic game. It's incredibly designed. It's just too smart for me. But I have played a lot of the other 2D Metroids. And so I played through, what did I do? I did Metroid Fusion.
That's a good one.
Yeah. It was great. And then, what was the other? Did I play? Oh, I had intentions to play Zero Mission, which is the remake of the original Metroid.
Yep.
I wanted to download it. I just haven't gotten around to it yet. But I definitely want to play that at some point. And so, of course, I'm sure all of our listeners probably know at this point that Metroid Samus Returns is a remake of Metroid 2.
Yeah, the Game Boy one.
Which was correct. Metroid 2 for the Game Boy, which...
They didn't preserve the pickle juice colored graphics, which is kind of...
so
I know, that was
just really
major letdown, Nintendo. Listen to your
Seriously.
fans.
That's right. No, it's obviously it's. I like the simplicity of the concept for this game in that basically you're just trying to exterminate Metroids, and it's really clear cut. There's even a number right on the screen there. It says 40 out of 40 at the beginning of the game, and then you take down one Metroid and it goes down to 39. It's just like, okay, I have a very clear cut, simple goal. I'm just going from place to place trying to find all these Metroids, but it's still Metroid in that there's still all the power-ups and things that you get, and there's areas that are blocked off at the beginning that later you can come back to and you can access new areas. It has that loop of, they call it Metroidvania, which is an in vogue term now, but of course it's really just Metroid.
Right.
It's Metroid, and it's excellent. It's very, very well done. I would say on the 3DS, it is the controls are a little bit tricky. They're a little bit cumbersome because you got to use the shoulder buttons pretty. If you want to stand in place and still be able to move your gun around, you have to hold down this one trigger, and then just some of the jumping mechanics are a little weird. But you know what? I do really, and I think I mentioned this in a previous episode, but I do really appreciate the new mechanic of the melee combo.
Oh,
and that is really, really neat. It takes some getting used to, but it makes me feel so much better because, in previous Metroid games when I would play, there's all these flying creatures or jumping creatures or whatever, and you walk into a room, and then after you're in there for 0.4 seconds, and they come flying at you, and then you're just like, what do I jump? Oh,
yep.
I'm dead.
Dead.
Dead. And so the melee combo, of course, it basically gives you the opportunity, if you click your melee attack button just before they strike you, it allows you not only to block their thing, but then make them vulnerable for a shot that you can take at them. And I just think it's so much more fair than having to try to jump around them or whatever. And it just, not only that, it looks cooler. And so it's kind of a game changer a little bit for Metroid, because it's not really at least in the 2D realm, there's not really something like that up to this point. And so I really like that. And the game's not easy, They give you a lot of power-ups, they give you a lot of things near the beginning, and yet you still feel like, man, just a couple hits from some of these enemies, and you're just way down on health. So, like I said, I'm relatively early in the game, but it's so I'm sure I'll get more powerful as I go. But it's definitely scratching that Metroid itch. It's not an imposter, if you will.
Cool.
It's no Metroid Other M. It's
right.
It's definitely true to form. This is Metroid.
Good.
So that's always great.
Yeah, it's another one. There are 3 games that have been almost system sellers of a 3DS for me, and this one, oh man, release it for the Switch, please. I don't have money to buy a 3DS right now, but I want to play it so bad. So that's good.
Sure.
Good to hear that it's living up to what it should be. So
yeah. So I've been playing some Metroid. more pressing, of course, was something that was kind of exciting this last weekend, and that was that on Friday, the Super NES Classic was finally released to the public, and I can speak for the fact that although I would imagine at this point they're sold out.
Yes, they are.
I think that there were Super NESs for quite a few people. So let me just tell you the quick story of getting mine. I'm fortunate with my teaching schedule that I have a little bit of flexibility in the morning because I teach an after-school class, and I don't have a first hour. And my local Target would open at 8 o'clock, so I could get there, get in, get out, and still get back in time to be able to teach on time. So I pulled in. Actually, I went to Target the day before on Thursday, and I just wanted to kind of get a feel for if anybody there knew what was happening, essentially, because I didn't want to come into it and have no idea what was going on, or if they were even going to get. I figured from what reports I'd seen, every Target was going to get some, but
Yep.
I wanted to see, get what the flavor was. Thankfully, there was an associate back in the electronics there that knew what was going on, and he basically said, yeah, you could show up at 8 o'clock tomorrow, and you should be able to walk out of here with a Super NES Classic. They had 45 of them.
That's awesome. That is awesome that they didn't botch it. I've heard stories like that from multiple people where they're like, yeah, like there were just plenty and everyone got one basically. There were a few people disappointed, but like they showed up after the store opened, So
Right. So I said 45. That's pretty good. I still got there a couple hours early.
Oh yeah.
I pulled in shortly after 6, I think, and I saw that there was a crowd of maybe 5 people or so in front of the building.
I think that's that's more a gathering. But
right, a gathering. Right, there you go. So they were sitting there, and I later found out, and it made sense when I saw it, but I later found out they had stayed there all night because they were really, really excited about it. So they had gotten there at like 11 o'clock the previous night. And so, but they were the only ones that were there. And so it's like, okay, well, I know they have 45 of them here. I think I'm okay. I'm going to go to McDonald's and get some breakfast.
Yeah.
Because I hadn't really started with a whole lot. So I came back there, and I was like, I'm just going to sit here in my car and stay a little warm a little while longer, eat my food, enjoy it, relax. But there's a funny feeling you get when you're sitting in your car, and if even one person shows up, and you're like, you start to get stressed out. You're like, wait a second, I need to.
That's my spot.
Exactly.
I before you.
What if he told me a lie? What if it's really only like
4
6
or 5?
Yeah. And so, well, it just happened to be, when I got there the second time, they had there was a shift that was showing up of Target workers.
Sure.
And so there were lots of cars driving in at that time, and so every time I was like, "Fine, I got to get out of here. I got to go on." And so I kind of scarfed down my food, and then went out there. I happened to have a chair in my in the back of my car, so I grabbed a blanket, and just kind of went and joined the crew. I was number, I think, 8 or 9 in line, and I waited there from like 6:30 or so until they opened at 8. And probably about 7:45, they came out and gave us all little index cards, and each one of them was handwritten, labeled, 2 of 45, 4 of 45, 9 of 45, whatever it was. And so they said, if you lose this card, tough luck, you're out. So don't lose it. But yeah, obviously once that happened, then we were able to go back, and we could go back to our car. The line didn't matter as much because everyone was going to get one. I still wanted to be close to the front because I had to get to school. But
I gotta say, I'm really glad that they didn't botch this, because the scalpers, most stores were doing a 1 per customer deal anyways, which is awesome.
Right.
And I was watching it the day of the launch, and like right off the bat, there were a few for like 400, but then there was a huge wave of them for 300, and by the end of that day, the highest priced one I was seeing was at 160, because none of them were moving. Everyone was dropping their price, because basically everyone that wanted one right away was able to get it, and people that weren't, like me, like I know that like Nintendo has said, they're going to have more and more and more of these.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want one, you will be able to get one. So it's like, I'll just be patient. I wasn't able to get out there opening day. I'll get one either around the holiday or sometime after the new year. And that's fine by me. And I love that that people wanted to make money off of people and they weren't. It's great. Like I have no problem paying, like if someone charged like 90 to 100, I'd be like, okay, for your time. Okay, I get it.
Sure.
But
right.
outside of that, it's gross. It just makes me mad. But
oh yeah, well, and because we've been burned so many times on this, it's I mean, those scalpers, they just, and it's part of the problem because Nintendo makes such great stuff. You know?
Yep.
It's just yeah. So yes, bravo Nintendo on actually fulfilling your promise.
So
and if you are out there and waiting, do not pay high prices for this thing.
No kidding. There'll be more
for sure.
Now you've been playing some of the SNES Classic.
Oh yeah. So yeah, let's what we've been playing, right? Not what we've been waiting in line for. So yeah, it's okay. So I got it Friday morning, and unfortunately, the way my schedule's worked out this weekend, it's been kind of tough. But because I had school all day that day, and then we had a home football game for the marching band that night. And then all of Saturday was a marching band competition. So all in all, I haven't been able to play as much as I would want to. However, I did kind of bust it out and set it up, and I broke. I kind of felt bad, actually. I ran out of HDMI ports on my TV, so I had to disconnect the HDMI cable for my Wii U.
Yeah.
So
that's a
my
sad
Wii U's
day.
set up,
Yeah.
but if I want to play it, I have to like switch out the cables.
Yep.
Which is sad. But either way, so yeah, I basically, this is going to be, my new ADD of it's like when you go on Netflix, and you just sit there and you're there for 40 minutes just browsing.
Yep.
And you don't actually watch anything. So I played like 10 minutes of one game, and then I jumped to another, and I jumped to just kind of back, because they're all wonderful games, and you just want to try them all out.
Right.
So what did I do? I started a Zelda, A Link to the Past, because I've only ever actually beaten that game once, and I played that back on the GBA. And so I wanted to kind of see.
Until Breath of the Wild, that was my favorite Zelda game. But go ahead.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. It is great. And so I just played through that opening section where you had to get Zelda out of the dungeon.
Yep.
And then I basically just got back to my house and called it good from there. And then what else did I do? I've never actually played Donkey Kong Country. At least not for more than like 5 minutes.
Yeah. I'll more about that later. Keep going.
Okay, so Donkey Kong Country, the original, is the only one of that trilogy that's on the Super NES Classic. But so I started playing it, and I got through maybe 3 or 4 levels, and I'm really enjoying that one. It's just the visual look of it is so distinct, and
it's amazing
the coloring,
what they could do on a 16-bit system and get that look, and it's great.
It's great. Yeah, I mean some of the mechanics of it are a little aged, but the jumping, obviously it doesn't feel quite as good as Mario. Right. But it's still solid, and it has character and it has charm, and it's just really really nice. So played some of that, and then I did, what did I do? I did what's the other one I hadn't touched? I played like 10 minutes of Yoshi's Island.
Oh, nice.
Which is another one that I played originally on the GBA. One of all those re-releases that they did.
It's a good game. Good game.
Oh, so good. But my memory of that game is like the last maybe 4 worlds, just being really hard.
Yeah.
Like really challenging. And so, and of course the baby cry of death. Just yeah, that's pretty close to it.
Yep.
Maybe another octave or two up.
Oh yeah.
So awesome. There's that. And then I really wanted to be able to tell our listeners something about Star Fox 2, which is of course the game that is unreleased up to this point. But of course, in order to do that, I had to play the first level of Star Fox 1, and I had to beat it.
Oh.
And I didn't.
Wait, you have to beat that to unlock it or something?
You had to beat the first level of Star Fox 1 in order to unlock Star Fox 2.
I didn't know that.
So, again, I was in I only had like 10 minutes left, and I had to go do something else. And so I played, and I just kept dying. And number one, I'm not great at video games. Number two, Star Fox, the original Star Fox, and again, I haven't tried number two yet, so I can't speak for it yet. But the visual look of it is it's very tough to distinguish who's the enemy and who's your team.
I can see that, especially if you haven't lived in that visual palette for a decade or more. Like,
right.
it's very clunky, very clunky.
Not to mention frame rate kind of things, as well as there's no reticle for your aiming.
Right.
So you just kind of like, and you can't just hold it down the whole time. You push the button and it shoots like 3 or 4 lasers, and then you have to do it again.
Yeah.
And so you kind of have to just,
it's a learning curve for sure.
Make guesses, yeah. So even trying to find out, okay, I get to the final boss of the level, and I'm like, where am I supposed to shoot? I see the flashing red things, but am I anywhere? Am I hitting them? Like, there's no visual feedback for some of that.
Sure. I can see that.
So anyway, I'll have to give a report on that next time, because that did not happen at this point. But yeah, overall, Super NES Classic is a beautiful piece of hardware. The cords are longer, which is which is a mercy.
As they were on the Super Nintendo too. Their controller cord length was perfect. It was so good. But, yeah.
I mean, I still would like a wireless someday, but hey, it's manageable. It's not like the NES Classic, and so I'll take it.
Before you get to your last thing that you've been playing, I'll really quick. Sure. I mentioned on the last episode that I had been doing Project Octopath Traveler. I got started on that. I finished it, and all I can say is I can't wait until that game is released. That seems like it's going to scratch that Final Fantasy VI itch that I want scratched so bad. So that it's really good, really really good.
Didn't I hear there's multiple like partial campaigns that you can play in that demo?
Yeah, you get two of them. So
okay,
and if you've got a Switch and you haven't tried that yet, go check it out. Visually, it's so good looking. It really looks good, and it plays really well too. So I'm interested to see how all the characters interact with each other, how that affects the mechanics of the gameplay. But that's really good. That's a must day one get for me. But also, since you've been playing your Super Nintendo Classic, I've been playing. I know, shame on me. But I have a Raspberry Pi. I did a Retro Pi, and so I've got the NES library, the Super Nintendo library, the Link, Atari Lynx, 32X, like just thousands of games. But I started a Facebook page called 7 Minute Gamer where I do 7-minute streams of games, and I let people request the games, and so I've played a number of games on that recently. Some good, some not so good. But you mentioned Donkey Kong Country, and I'm going to be playing that on my next stream with that. I too have never actually played. That's not 100% factual. I've dabbled in Donkey Kong Country in that my neighbor had it growing up, and I watched him play. Yep, and I might have played the first level like once, but I watched a good portion of the game. So I'm excited to play that. But if you check out 7 Minute Gamer, it's a Facebook page. I'm bad at most of the games because I don't know what I'm doing in any of them, and it's the first time I've tried it. Some of them I've played, but not for like decades. So, like Contra, I died on the third level, which was disappointing, or the end of the second level, which was really disappointing. So, but anyways, yeah. So I've been doing a bit of that, and then your last thing that you've been playing, you can hit on that, and I'll piggyback on that because it's the same thing, and I bet everyone who's listened to any of our episodes can guess what it is. But Brad, go ahead.
Okay. Just one last thing to finish off on the NES Classic, Super NES Classic. Right. It's it's really great. I'm really excited to get. Actually, I'm excited to try because I played a little bit of Earthbound. I bought that on the Wii U. Yep. I had that because I was like, this iconic game. I played so much in Smash Brothers and everything with NES and whatnot, and I've just never been able to play it. So when it finally came out, Nintendo fans rejoice. When it finally came out on the Wii U, I was like, I got to try this. Honestly, I kind of fell off of it after maybe 4 or 5 hours. Okay. But I'm really excited to try some other RPGs that are on this Super NES Classic, particularly Mario RPG.
Oh man!
I hear that that's kind of a great middle ground,
Yes.
or like a starting RPG
Mm-hmm.
for someone who doesn't play a whole lot of them. So I'm excited to try that out. And then I know you are big on Final Fantasy 3, which is really Final Fantasy 6,
Correct.
right?
Yes.
And that's one of your favorite games like ever, right?
It's 1 or 1A.
Okay. Fair enough. So yeah, I definitely want to dive into those at some point.
Yep.
And this is the device that's going to allow me to do that.
Isn't Chrono Trigger on this or no?
It's not.
Oh, that's right.
Because it's not first party.
Oh, okay. What about Secret of Mana? I can't. I'm blanking on the list.
Yes, that
okay.
one is.
Great game.
Secret Mana is, and that's the one that's. Well, I guess the original was actually 3 players. You could play
Yes.
3 players simultaneously.
Yes.
But not on the Super NES.
No.
It's only 2 players.
Right.
Or, I mean, on the classic.
Right. And I love the wheel menu in that game. It's just,
I've never played it. So
it's unique and it works really well. So I like that. But yeah.
Awesome.
All right. So
okay, but as you were alluding to
Yes.
earlier, I've been playing some Zelda. Have you been playing some Zelda, Mark?
which Twilight Princess?
No. I was thinking Oracle of
Skyward.
Ages.
Oh yeah, Four Swords. No. Oh, so Breath of the Wild. A lot of it.
Oh, is
I've
that
been
it?
playing
Really?
hours and hours and hours of it. But you take the first bit of this.
Okay. So, drum roll please, but I have, well, actually no drum roll, I'm just going to tell you. I have finally completed a Divine Beast. 120 hours in, thank you.
Yeah. That is the leisure approach, man. That's a great way to play it, though.
That's right. So, I finally
Which one?
got, it was the
Naboris.
Naboris.
Yes.
Yeah, the one in the desert.
Yep.
The Gerudo one. And okay, so again, my first Divine Beast, I really love the approach to dungeons or just whatever
Yep.
these Divine Beasts are in general, when you basically move the thing.
Yep.
Or whatever it may be, the beast itself. It's very intricate, and it was very well designed, and you got to think, and it definitely harkens back to Dungeons of old, even though it's not quite the same. It's not room to room as much as,
And they're not as lengthy, which I like.
right. So long as you can kind of think your way through it.
Yep. Yeah.
But I challenged myself to try to get like every single chest,
Mm-hmm.
and some of those required some really logical patterns that you had to
Yep.
go through. It's pretty neat. Yeah, I was very, very pleased with it, very impressed, and then of course you get the reward at the end, which I haven't used a ton of yet since then, but
Pretty powerful, man.
it's pretty neat.
Yeah, it is. It's pretty powerful. This is not a spoiler really at all, but well, it might be. There's that thing that you get for the Gerudo princess, and she helps you.
Yes.
Go talk to her. You can wind up getting that from her, which is super
really?
beneficial. Yeah. So.
Good to know.
Yep.
Good to know.
So, but yeah, I won't tell you. There's a quest line for it, so I won't tell you anymore.
Okay.
But
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, and so now that I've kind of come to the end of that finally, and there's definitely some more side quests I need to do, like you mentioned there, or after you beat the Divine Beast, you can do those races, the Sandsteel races,
Yep.
and things like that. So there's a few things I need to finish up, but I'm finally being like, okay, I'm gonna move out of the desert for a while.
Yeah.
And so I'm excited to get back to, because probably one of my favorite things about this whole game is just going off
Mm-hmm.
to every corner and just even areas I've been to before, like finding new Korok seeds, and like I've got a general, like I think I'm gonna do the Zora
Yeah.
Divine Beast next, and so
That'd
I'm
be
like
my
I'm all the way across the world from that, and I'm like, I'm not warping over there. I'm just walking.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find everything I can.
That's the weird thing
there are so few games that I can think of that I would do something like that.
Right, and I have this stable of amazing horses, like really good horses, and I don't use them much at all. It's just like I want to walk, I want to explore, and I can't pick things up and smash things when I'm on my horse, not as easily.
Right.
But well, that's awesome, because Naboris was my second to last Divine Beast. I just completed my final Divine Beast, And right now I am trying to finish the shrines. I've got 109 of them done, and so I have 11 to go. And they're just I don't really know which ones I don't have now, which is so it's kind of tough. I'm probably gonna have to do some strategy guide looking for that one to figure out what I need to do yet. But I think what's gonna be really disappointing, because I've talked to people who have beaten the game, I think what's going to be disappointing for me is the amount of time I've put into this, and like getting all the shrines now, and how thorough I've tried to be. I know that when I get to the end of the game, I'm going to have like 30 to 40% completion, because those Korok seeds count for so much, apparently. Like, it's just like I've got 200 some odd, and that's just not enough, and it's not whatever. But yeah, so
I've got I think I hit 260 last night, and my goal is to get them all eventually.
Okay.
Eventually, get them all. So I absolutely know that I'm not going to be able to find them all by myself. I'm going to have to eventually I'm going to get the DLC and get that mask that kind of shows you where they are.
Yeah.
But I'm going to be getting the DLC eventually either way, because it's got the story content and stuff, which sounds like, at least at this point anyway, it's not necessarily coming out in 2017 anymore. Like, nothing's been confirmed.
Yeah, we'll see.
Nothing's been said either way.
Right.
I'd be okay with that. I've still got lots of things to do.
I mean, there's Odyssey coming up, so.
Oh, man. Dude.
I know. But we... so... Why don't we move on, because we could talk about Odyssey now for the next 20 minutes. But
yeah.
So next is Tales from the Wild, which is our spoiler-free stories from playing Zelda. And I'll take the first one.
Okay.
So my realization once again is that the world of Breath of the Wild is very big, like.
Really?
Capital B, capital I, capital G, big. Like, and how I realized that was when I was trying to find this one shrine just today, and I was just like, okay, I was talking with a friend. He's like, it's over, this area. There's one that you're missing, because he was looking at it. I'm like, okay, and I couldn't find it, and then I just did a quick Google search for it, and it's like, by Fort Hatino. And I was like, Fort Hatino? What is that? Like, I know where Hatino Village is, but what is Fort Hatino? And it's this really cool place in the game with, like, have you gotten all of the captured memories?
Not all of them, no.
Well, there's, like, this big climactic memory that takes place outside of that I was just near it, and I got the captured memory there, and I'm like, I'm right by this like really cool piece of history and this big wall and everything, and I just somehow never walked through that, even though it's right on the road to Hatino Village. I just decided to cut across country to get there, as opposed to taking the path. So I missed this, I don't know how, this really big fort, and it's right on the path, and I somehow missed it, but Now I found it. So it's amazing how big that world is. So anyways.
And no doubt, like we've said before, when you have that DLC and you get the Hero's Path, you see all the areas that you've never been to.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's plenty of those that I haven't even touched.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
That's great.
So
for me, this should come as no shock to anyone, but actually, I made a pun. I didn't even mean to. So basically, what happened was I died because of my own stupidity, and so I was by this river, and in the river, or next to the river, on both sides of the river were those Korok seed puzzles where you have all the metal blocks, like on a wall or something, or on the ground, and you have to move one of them to the other side to make it make them look in parity. And I was moving one of them across this river, and I had it way out in front of me, and I wasn't quite close enough, and so I was like reaching way above. And at the same time, a storm is starting.
Oh, nice.
And And I was like, oh, I see the lightning building up on my cube there, and I know it's metal, so that's probably dangerous. But you know what? It's like 20 feet in front of me. No problem. Turns out I was wrong on that.
The shock goes through the magnetic beam.
It went through the magnetic beam,
yeah. Oh, man, that's awesome. And poor Link, but that's awesome.
Yeah, right. At least I'm pretty sure. I mean, I think I might have had a shield or something on too, but at the same time, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
It would have absolutely.
When we wrap this up, I'm going to go down and try that out. I want to see that. That's cool.
Yeah. But yeah, just man, I just keep getting surprised. It's always cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right.
What a great game.
So that's what we've been playing, and we've got a really short retro game review for you here. So cue the music for retro game review. All right, the retro game review. This was a game that was requested that by a friend of mine, Sarah Weatherwax. She requested I play on my 7-Minute Gamer page, Mendel Palace, which I remember.
I've never heard of that game ever.
I remember seeing the title in old Nintendo Power magazines, but I didn't know what it looked like. Anyways, I booted up on my RetroPie and I'm looking at this title screen and it looks pretty rad. I'm like, this looks cool. The really tough looking characters on the front, and then when you press start, it's hard to describe what you look at. It's not anything like the title screen, and it's weird. And
okay.
You run around in a palace and
all right,
flip tiles, carpet tile things, and people chase you, and you try to get tiles flipped that have stars. You run over them, and then you flip tiles to send the bad guys smashing into walls, which blows them up. And
what are you trying to do?
Blow up all the bad guys by throwing them into walls. I think that's what you're trying to do. And
okay.
It took me forever to figure that out. Like, I'm running around, this like band of goons is chasing me in this room forever, and I'm like, what am I supposed to do? Like, I could send them backwards with these like flipping of carpet tiles, and eventually I was close enough to a wall where one of them like blew into smithereens. I was like, oh, I get it now, and it's actually really good. It's not at all what the box art looks like. It's not at all what the cover art tells you that it's going to be. But it's weird and fun. So if you're looking for a really weird game to try, try Mendel Palace. I'm actually going to be revisiting that one a few times for sure.
If you can get your hands on it. My goodness.
Yeah, you might have to go emulator with that. But that it's really weird. It's a really weird game, dude. Just like really weird, but fun, like a lot of fun. So,
okay.
Mendel Palace.
So you would say is it an actual strategy that is involved in that tile flipping thing?
Yes,
or?
I did 2 of the palaces. Yeah, you have like 9 palaces I think you can choose from, and one of the palaces, these people like kind of jump out from the borders of the screen and like swim across these carpet tiles like penguins in water, but it's clearly a floor. It's weird. I'm telling you, it's weird. I think there were some strong drugs involved in the making of it, but it's fun to play. I did enjoy my time playing Mendel Palace, so
nice.
Worth checking out. But all right, so
but just be weird. It's
weird. It's very weird. So that's the show. So
that brings us to the end here. Yeah. So if you let's see. We got that. Okay. So, yeah, thank you so much for listening to Nintendo Directors. We would be very much appreciative if you would go on iTunes and give us a rating on there, preferably a favorable one,
really good
and
one.
Write some comments. A really good one. By the way, speaking of which, we did get a review this week, and it was from Bravo for the Piano.
Hey!
The number 4. And he or she says, fun to listen to, totally agree. Lots of good games coming to Switch. You can expect me to be there October 5th. Which I assume means that was the date for the next one. Yeah, so they just listened and they're ready for.
Thank you,
the next
Bravo.
episode. Yeah, thank you very much. That's awesome. If you want to be part of the show, we'll probably read your iTunes reviews on the show, or you can just, if you have an actual comment or question about games or about us or about, why is the sky blue, or what's that mold growing on the chicken in my refrigerator, we can try to answer that for you.
Or how do I play a B-flat scale?
There you go.
Can help
there
you
you
with
go.
that too.
Send your emails to nintendodirectorspodcast@gmail.com. Or you can find us on Twitter at @n_directors. And so let's see, when is our next show? We are a bi-weekly show or an every other weekly show. Yeah. So we post every other Thursday. And so 19th it looks like is our next posting date. So connect on Twitter. We've had I feel like we've had a bit of a growing audience the last couple episodes. We've slowly grown. I know even some personal connections that I've made with different people.
Yeah.
They're talking about their music people who are talking about Nintendo. I'm like, hey, you should check out this podcast that I know of.
It's really good.
I hear it's pretty good. Yeah. That's what they tell me.
Yeah.
So, anyway,
the voices in our heads. Is that what we're talking about? Anyway, okay.
That's something like that.
We're band directors. We're all crazy.
Yeah,
all right.
It's all weird.
Oh, and you can.
All right, my friends.
You can check us out on YouTube too. We're on the YouTube.
We have on the YouTube's at just Nintendo Directors. You can hear all of our episodes there. There's not much to watch, but it's just a picture of our album art there. But you know what? If that floats your boat,
I challenge you to watch all of it. Eyes can't move from the screen. So
that's right.
Go for it.
Sit there and stare at the thing.
Please don't take that as a personal challenge. Please, nobody should do that.
Actually, I remember when I first started making those videos for YouTube, I was using Blender. It's an open source video thing, and for whatever reason, I had this bug or issue. Not a bug, but I was dumb and I couldn't figure it out yet. So I had the picture on there, and it would work with the sound in the back, but it would like flicker every like 1.5 seconds.
Oh.
And so that would be like a real seizure-inducing thing if you had to stare there.
That's tormenting the viewers. So that's good.
That's good. So.
All
right, folks. We'll see you in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
Game on, and we'll see you later.
More video games. Bye-bye.